Alright guys, welcome to this upload for you guys today. Just want to say how hot and warm this room is. I'm surprised I'm sitting in front of the camera and the bright light. Because look, this is not exactly supporting a new look. It looks like a spider on my head. That's how warm it is. But I just want to say to one of you guys is, due to technical issues with obviously my webcam, went all pixelated. I literally took 2 hours to figure out what was wrong with it. I decided to unplug it and plug it back in. Why didn't I think of that first? Because that proves how warm my room gets, and this is why I can't think straight, at times. That's a matter of speaking when I say think straight. I'm not one of those pretty boys. No, not that sort of thing of not thinking straight. People take it out of contents. Like numerous of times I've seen people take it out of context. It's like with the people that bashing Tony Khan right now on social media. You just want to pick faults because it's AEW. And I literally put on a comment on a video. How is that... I'm not being funny, but how's that going to hinder TNA's fan base? How's that going to literally hinder anything? All he's doing is promoting his product. There's nothing wrong in that. There's no hearsay to turn around and say to Tony Khan, you can't do that. Great, I've got a triangle warning for a thunderstorm. Is it going to be tonight? I don't know. I'm still waiting for this 10-hour thunderstorm that we've been forecast here in Nottingham. But I just want to say to one of you guys is that, because quite honestly, with that thunderstorm we had yesterday, it was petty, small, minute. I think it ran about 5-10 minutes, if that, if we were lucky. And we meant to be forecasted a 10-hour one today. I'm still waiting for it to hit, but it may be hitting tomorrow. You never know. But anyway, enough of the thunderstorm. But no Gregory Helms coming through. Obviously hurricane. Get the reference, guys. But what I want to say to one of you guys is, like, all I did is put a comment out and went, clearly you're an AEW fan. How does that make you an AEW fan when you're saying all he's doing is promoting his product? And people think it's being petty because he did it after Slammiversary. All he's doing is promoting his product. You could tweet whenever you want. If it's called tweet or Xing or whatever they call it now. I don't know. I'm not down with the kids. But come on, be serious. But it's quite funny when people bash me for just saying that. You know what is more petty is the people that point out the people that are trying to be petty, but they're not being petty. All they're doing is bloody promoting their product. You're pointing out to the people that you think is petty, like someone like me, for saying what I said. I support all wrestling. It doesn't mean that I talk about it all the time. I'd love to sit here all the time on my broken chair that broke shortly after filming my last video. So I'm down to one arm. On the chair, not literally one arm. That's a cat scratch, by the way, before anyone points that out. Yeah, because my cat Junior thought he was funny. We were playing. He went Freddy Krueger style. It didn't invade my dreams, though. But what I'm saying to you guys is, when people are petty and literally saying to you, "Oh, you're just an AEW fan," I'm not being funny. I've sat and watched Slammiversary. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. Right? But it's bad enough you getting WWE influenced. Too much. Yes, we gather the working relationship. Yes, it's paid off dividends for TNA Wrestling. It's paid off dividends massively for the company. But you did not need to give your world titles to anyone in WWE. Like from NXT. From the women's to the main event. It just... Santana should have won that main event. Period. You know, point blank range, right? But they made a vital mistake doing that, right? TNA's product, if you are willing to elevate TNA the way you are, which I'm still thinking WWE at some point, or TKO, whatever you want to class it as, is going to buy out TNA. I've been saying it for months now, since this deal was announced, right? The one thing I do not want to see, right, I'm being honest with you. Granted, I've not watched TNA in over 10 years, but I do not want to see in 2025 Hardys versus the Dudley Boys or Team 3D. I do not want to see that. You know, because at the end of the day, maybe one last time, this was rumoured and speculated anyway, many months ago, that it was going to happen in WWE, at WrestleMania or somewhere, right? But the thing is, the weird thing about it is, I do respect AJ Styles when he went back. I was wondering what capacity he was going back, but it's great that he's literally credited Leon Slater, British own, with the X Division title. I didn't mind that capacity, the way he's gone there. But the problem is where it lies, right? Their deal was meant to be just for TNA NXT, right? TNA and NXT to work together. Are we slowly now getting towards possibly another deal that main roster will be going there? They're the ones that don't usually use on Raw or SmackDown. You know, it's weird to think, right? I know contracts subject to change, but the influence, the way AJ Styles was tasteful, absolutely tasteful. It was golden moment. After 11 years of hiatus from TNA wrestling, I give them credit where they did with that. But you don't need to put any titles on WWE lot at all. You do not at all. Because to me personally, I feel like it doesn't make sense. Even though you want to put those three matches together with the likes of NXT, with the likes of TNA, that works perfectly. One thing I want to see right now, and I'm going to say this, right? An invasion angle properly. You know, there's benefit of the doubt where they could actually do this, and it could work in their favour. And it's like a winner take all, but TNA, if it's on TNA product, I'm not saying about the buy out of TNA. The thing is, that's the only thing is missing is an invasion angle. If they end up buying TNA, they'll probably end up doing this. And who's going to reap the benefits of it? WWE. That's what annoys me about this sort of partnership, is it leading that way. Because at the moment, I feel like they are technically, TNA's making great attendance, right? Great attendance for them, right? But the one thing I really cannot freaking stand is when people used to bash TNA and when I was supporting them properly for a while because WWE was not giving it for me. A good long while, 10 years ago, right? I'll be honest with you, right? The only reason why I faded away from watching TNA is because I had a job at the time. I was working nightclubs and it was always on when nightclubs was on. So, yes, I could record it. I didn't have that many people to talk about professional wrestling for many, many years. And then obviously over the duration of time being on YouTube, I did make people, friends and that lot. And yes, it's not like TNA how it used to be. But do they really need to do certain things what they are actually doing? You know, I feel like Slammiversary was should have been a kick in the teeth. It felt like a kick in the teeth to the TNA roster. The likes of Joe Henry, the likes of Santana. I'm surprised Santana didn't get the title. I really was surprised at that. The work he's done to make himself a singles competitor and make himself a household name after the fallout of obviously LAX, or I forget what the name was when they were in TNA. I mean, in what do you call it? AEW. I think it was Proud and Powerful or something like that. I could be wrong. Comment down below, please do. But that's what I mean. It annoys me when WWE get glory on NXT product. I mean TNA product. But it's annoying as hell when they do that. You know, it kind of ruins it. What you're setting out to do. You're trying to make a TNA a household name. You're making them a decent crowd after so many years. But the problem where it lies, right, with the IWC, right, they had just under 8,000 people in attendance. If that was AEW, people shunned it. Like, laugh at it and everything. But when it's TNA, oh, it's fine. I've noticed that a lot when it comes to certain things. But I'm not one of these people that focus on attendance. I focus what goes off in the ring. You know, and it's mad to think that how great that TNA's come a long way. They're proving people wrong week by week, but then all of a sudden, why does WWE need to be credited with championships on TNA's products? Well, they've actually stuck by and done this. That's what dumbfounded me about the product. And that's just me being honest. There should be an invasion angle built in. They need to do something. You know, you've already gave the benefit of the doubt to the people that are from WWE the titles, minus obviously the X division. But the thing is, I feel like when I look at the way TNA's become, and I'm like, if you are totally on a working relationship, and these former TNA guys, NXT or main roster guys, have literally been released from WWE, and then they've gone to TNA and thrive, fine, that's fine. I'm not a problem with that. But I feel like the Dudley Boys didn't need the titles. Aiming towards the titles, I mean, at Bound for Glory, by the looks of it. They do not need to do it for one more time. You know, I'm surprised Devon even wrestles these days. But it really frustrates me when I'm a wrestling fan. I appreciate it when it was old, ages ago. But the problem where it lies is when Bubba's been on social media in the past, like saying about back in the day when obviously WWE aimed to, obviously not WWE, AEW was aiming to sign all the WWE guys, these former WWE guys. Oh, they passed it. That's why they're not in WWE anymore, etc., etc., etc. You know, to fuel to the fire, to influence people, fuel to the fire. Then you fast forward to 2025, August 20th. What actually happened last night? He shows up. He's challenging the hardest one more time at Bound for Glory. Why? You don't need this to happen. You could have easily gave that spot to an up-and-coming tag team in your division, if not signed yet. Because Bound for Glory is later on this year, granted. But it's weird. It's really, really weird to think that is actually going to happen in 2025. You know, that's not me bashing TNA. I'm just saying this. TNA, why are you giving all WWE the credit? Because they've gave you people to watch, eyes on the product, to people reviewing the product once again. It's just mad. It's mad at the moment, I feel. Don't get me wrong, they did make a benefit of the doubt of what's gone off, but me, it doesn't sit right with me with WWE getting the titles. It should have easily been certain wrestlers on that card last night deserve it more. You know, you've just come in their domain, their house, their territory. This is why it gives me more and more fuel to the fire to thinking WWE are, or TKO are buying TNA, and I've been saying this for over a year. I can see one day it's going to pull the plug and go, breaking news, TKO's bought them out. Even though they're already $3 billion in debt, which they'll never get rid of if they don't do anything about it. And all they keep on doing is trying to outshine another company when they don't even focus on their own company. That's even including the likes of WWE. But like I said to you, I appreciate all professional wrestling, but they shouldn't be doing certain things. And that's just me being honest. Tell me your thoughts down below. And I'll catch you soon for another video.